What if the stories you grew up hearing tales of gods, heroes, and mythical creatures were more than just legends? What if they were rooted in real events, hidden beneath layers of time and imagination? Picture this, a war so epic, it inspired one of the greatest stories ever told, the Trojan War. For centuries, it was thought to be pure myth, until archaeologists uncovered the ancient city of Troy, buried beneath the soil of modern-day Turkey. Suddenly, the line between myth and history blurred, and the question arose how much of what we consider myth might actually be history in disguise. In this video, we're diving into the fascinating world where mythology and history collide. From the Labyrinth of the Minotaur to the Lost City of Atlantis, we'll explore 25 incredible moments where the stories of gods and heroes overlap with real-world discoveries. These aren't just tales, they're windows into the beliefs, fears, and triumphs of ancient civilizations. So, if you've ever wondered how much truth lies behind the myths, or if you're just curious about the mysteries of the past, you're in the right place. By the end of this video, you'll see history and mythology in a whole new light, and who knows, you might just uncover a mystery that changes how you see the world. Let's begin. Now, let's step into one of the most iconic tales of all time, the Trojan War. For centuries, this epic conflict was thought to be nothing more than a story spun by the poet Homer in his masterpiece, the Iliad. But what if the Trojan War wasn't just a myth? What if it was a real event immortalized in legend? Enter Heinrich Schliemann, a 19th-century archaeologist with a passion for proving the truth behind the tales. In the 1870s, Schliemann set out to find the ancient city of Troy, and against all odds he succeeded. Buried beneath the hills of modern-day Turkey, he uncovered the ruins of a city that matched Homer's descriptions almost perfectly. Massive walls, grand gates, and evidence of a devastating fire, all of it pointed to a city that had once been the stage for a legendary war. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. The layers of ruins Schliemann found suggested that Troy had been destroyed and rebuilt multiple times, hinting at a long history of conflict. Could one of those layers be the Troy of Homer's Iliad? While scholars still debate the details, the discovery of Troy has forever changed how we see the line between myth and history. It's a reminder that sometimes the stories we think are pure fiction might just have a kernel of truth buried deep within. And with that, let's turn our attention to another legendary tale, the myth of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth of Crete. Now, let's journey to the island of Crete, where another legendary tale blurs the line between myth and history, the story of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth. According to Greek mythology, the Minotaur was a fearsome creature, half man and half bull, imprisoned in a vast, intricate maze designed by the master craftsman Daedalus. This labyrinth was said to be so complex that anyone who entered would be lost forever, doomed to wander until they encountered the monstrous Minotaur. But could this myth have roots in something real? Enter the palace of Knossos, the heart of the ancient Minoan civilization. Discovered by archaeologist Arthur Evans in the early 20th century, Knossos is a sprawling complex of over 1,000 rooms, connected by winding corridors and staircases that seem to twist and turn endlessly. The sheer complexity of the palace's layout has led many to speculate that it might have inspired the myth of the labyrinth. Adding to the intrigue, frescoes found at Knossos depict bull leaping, a ritual that may have given rise to the legend of the Minotaur. These images show athletes vaulting over the backs of bulls, a dangerous and awe-inspiring spectacle that could have been exaggerated over time into the tale of a half-bull monster. While we may never know for certain if the Minotaur truly existed, the discoveries at Knossos offer a fascinating glimpse into how myths can emerge from real-world events and places. It's a reminder that even the most fantastical stories often have a foundation in history. And speaking of history, let's now turn our attention to another ancient mystery, the global flood myths that appear in cultures around the world. Now let's dive into a story that spans continents and cultures, the tale of great floods that appear in myths across the globe. From the Epic of Gilgamesh in ancient Mesopotamia to the biblical story of Noah's Ark, these narratives share striking similarities, suggesting they might be rooted in real historical events. One of the most compelling theories comes from the Black Sea Deluge hypothesis, which proposes that around 7,600 years ago, a massive flood occurred when rising sea levels caused the Mediterranean to burst through the Bosporus Strait, flooding the Black Sea basin. This catastrophic event would have displaced countless communities, leaving a lasting impression on the collective memory of ancient peoples. Could this be the origin of the flood myths we know today? The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest known stories, describes a great flood sent by the gods to destroy humanity, with a hero named Utnapishtim building a boat to save his family and animals. Sound familiar? The parallels to Noah's Ark are undeniable, and similar flood stories appear in Hindu, Greek, and even indigenous American traditions. While the details vary, the core theme remains the same: a devastating flood that reshapes the world. Geological evidence such as sediment layers and ancient shorelines supports the idea that massive floods did occur in various regions, providing a plausible basis for these enduring myths. Whether it was the Black Sea Deluge or other localized floods, these events likely left such a profound impact that they were woven into the fabric of human storytelling. It's a fascinating reminder that myths often serve as a way to make sense of the world's most dramatic and transformative events. And speaking of transformative events, let's now explore another legendary figure whose story bridges myth and history, the Oracle of Delphi. Now, shifting our focus to the mystical world of ancient Greece, we encounter one of the most intriguing intersections of myth and history, the Oracle of Delphi. Revered as the mouthpiece of the god Apollo, the oracle was a central figure in Greek religion and politics, offering cryptic prophecies that shaped the decisions of kings, generals, and ordinary citizens alike. But what made the oracle so powerful? The answer may lie not just in divine inspiration, but in the very earth beneath her feet. The Temple of Apollo at Delphi was built atop a geological fault line where natural gases, including ethylene, seeped from the ground. Ethylene, a sweet-smelling gas, has been known to induce trance-like states and hallucinations when inhaled. Ancient accounts describe the oracle sitting on a tripod over a fissure, breathing in these vapors before delivering her prophecies. Could it be that the oracle's divine visions were in part a result of this natural phenomenon? This theory gains further support from modern scientific studies, which have identified traces of ethylene in the area. The gas's effects align closely with descriptions of the oracle's behavior, her altered state of consciousness, her incoherent utterances, and the priests who interpreted her words for seekers. It's a fascinating example of how the ancient Greeks may have attributed natural phenomena to divine intervention, blending the mystical with the scientific. Beyond the science, the oracle's influence was undeniable. Leaders from across the Greek world sought her guidance before making critical decisions, from waging wars to founding colonies. Her prophecies, though often ambiguous, carried immense weight, shaping the course of history in ways that still resonate today. The Oracle of Delphi stands as a testament to the enduring power of myth, not just as a reflection of human imagination, but as a bridge between the natural world and the stories we tell to make sense of it. As we leave the sacred slopes of Delphi, let's journey next to the legendary court of King Arthur, where myth and history intertwine in the tales of Camelot and the Knights of the Round Table. Now let's step into the misty realm of medieval Britain, where the legend of King Arthur and his fabled court at Camelot has captivated imaginations for centuries. The tales of Arthur, his Knights of the Round Table, and the magical sword Excalibur are woven deeply into the fabric of Western mythology. But could there be a kernel of historical truth behind these enduring stories? The legend of King Arthur is often set in the period following the collapse of Roman rule in Britain around the 5th or 6th century. This was a time of great upheaval as the island faced invasions, political fragmentation, and the struggle to maintain order. Some historians suggest that Arthur may have been a real figure, a warrior or leader who united the Britons against Saxon invaders. While there's no definitive proof of his existence, the historical context of post-Roman Britain provides fertile ground for the legend to take root. One of the most compelling connections between myth and history lies in the archaeological site of Tintagel, a rugged coastal fortress in Cornwall. Tintagel is often linked to Arthurian lore as the legendary birthplace of King Arthur. Excavations at the site have uncovered evidence of a high-status settlement dating back to the 5th and 6th centuries, including luxury goods like Mediterranean pottery and intricate stonework. These findings suggest that Tintagel was a significant center of power and trade, possibly ruled by a wealthy and influential leader. Could this leader have inspired the tales of Arthur? The ruins of Tintagel also include a slate slab inscribed with the name Artugnu, which some have interpreted as a variation of Arthur. While this connection remains speculative, it adds an intriguing layer to the site's association with the legendary king. Beyond Tintagel, other locations across Britain, such as Glastonbury and Cadbury Castle, have been tied to Arthurian legends, each contributing to the rich tapestry of stories that surround him. The Arthurian tales, as we know them today, were heavily embellished by medieval writers like Geoffrey of Monmouth and Thomas Malory, who transformed Arthur into a symbol of chivalry and unity. Yet, the enduring appeal of these stories lies in their ability to blend historical possibility with mythic grandeur. Whether Arthur was a real historical figure or a composite of multiple leaders, his legend reflects the hopes, fears, and ideals of a society grappling with change and uncertainty. As we leave the windswept cliffs of Tintagel behind, our next stop takes us to a mythical city that has fascinated explorers and dreamers for millennia, the lost city of Atlantis. Now, let's dive into the depths of one of history's most enduring mysteries, the lost city of Atlantis. First described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato in his dialogues, Timaeus and Critias, Atlantis was said to be a powerful and advanced civilization that sank into the ocean in a single day and night of misfortune. Plato's account paints Atlantis as a utopia of immense wealth and technological prowess, ruled by a confederation of kings. But was Atlantis purely a work of fiction, or could it have been inspired by real events and places? One of the most compelling theories links Atlantis to the Minoan civilization, which thrived on the island of Crete around 3,600 years ago. The Minoans were known for their impressive palaces, advanced art, and extensive trade networks, making them one of the most sophisticated societies of their time. However, their civilization came to an abrupt end, likely due to the catastrophic eruption of the volcano on the island of Thera, modern-day Santorini. This eruption, one of the largest in recorded history, caused massive tsunamis, earthquakes, and ash clouds that devastated the region. Could the destruction of the Minoan civilization have inspired Plato's tale of Atlantis? Archaeological evidence from Santorini supports this theory. Excavations at the site of Akrotiri have revealed a once thriving Minoan settlement buried under layers of volcanic ash, preserved much like Pompeii. The advanced architecture, vibrant frescoes, and intricate drainage systems found at Akrotiri suggest a society that matches Plato's description of Atlantis. The sudden and dramatic end of this settlement aligns with the idea of a civilization disappearing overnight. Modern theories about Atlantis's location extend beyond the Mediterranean. Some researchers propose that Atlantis could have been located in the Atlantic Ocean, as its name suggests, pointing to underwater formations like the Azores Plateau as potential candidates. Others suggest connections to ancient cultures in the Americas or even Antarctica, though these theories remain speculative. the allure of Atlantis lies in its blend of myth and mystery. Whether it was a cautionary tale invented by Plato, a distorted memory of a real civilization, or something else entirely, the story of Atlantis continues to captivate us. It serves as a reminder of humanity's fascination with lost worlds and the enduring power of storytelling. As we resurface from the depths of Atlantis, our journey takes us to another legendary group of women, the Amazons. Shifting our focus from the depths of the ocean to the vast steppes of Eurasia, we now turn to the legendary Amazons, a tribe of fierce warrior women who have captured imaginations for centuries. Described in Greek mythology as a society of women who lived without men, the Amazons were said to be skilled in combat, horseback riding, and archery. They appear in countless myths, from their battles with Greek heroes like Hercules and Achilles to their role in the Trojan War. But were the Amazons purely mythical, or could they have been inspired by real historical figures? Recent archaeological discoveries suggest that the Amazons may have had roots in the Scythian culture, a nomadic people who roamed the Eurasian steppes around 2,500 years ago. The Scythians were known for their warrior lifestyle, and evidence shows that women played a significant role in their society. Excavations of Scythian burial mounds, known as kurgans, have revealed the remains of women buried with weapons, armor, and even horses, clear indicators of their status as warriors. These findings challenge the traditional view of ancient societies as male-dominated and suggest that the Amazons of myth may have been inspired by real Scythian warrior women. One of the most striking examples comes from a burial site in modern-day Russia, where archaeologists uncovered the remains of a woman buried with a quiver of arrows, a dagger, and a headdress adorned with gold. Her grave goods and the care taken in her burial suggest she held a high status within her community. Similar discoveries across the region have revealed other female warriors, some buried with elaborate weapons and others with signs of battle injuries, further supporting the idea that these women were active participants in warfare. The connection between the Amazons and the Scythians is further strengthened by ancient Greek accounts. Greek writers like Herodotus described encounters with warrior women in the Black Sea region, referring to them as Amazons. These accounts, combined with the archaeological evidence, suggest that the Greeks may have encountered Scythian women and woven their stories into the fabric of their own mythology. The Amazons represent a fascinating intersection of myth and history, where the lines between legend and reality blur. Whether they were a purely mythical creation or inspired by real warrior women, the Amazons continue to symbolize strength, independence, and defiance of traditional gender roles. Their legacy reminds us that history is often more complex and diverse than the stories we tell. As we leave the steppes behind, our journey takes us northward to the world of Norse gods and Viking sagas, where mythology and history intertwine once again. Now, as we venture into the frostbitten realms of the north, we find ourselves immersed in the world of Norse gods and Viking sagas, a place where myth and history collide in spectacular fashion. The Norse pantheon, with its larger-than-life figures like Odin, the All-Father, and Thor, the thunder-wielding protector, has long captivated imaginations. But these gods were more than just characters in ancient tales. They were deeply intertwined with the lives, beliefs, and actions of the Viking people during the Viking Age, which spanned roughly from the late 8th to the 11th century. The sagas, epic stories passed down through generations, are a treasure trove of both mythological and historical insights. These narratives often blend the divine with the mundane, portraying gods who meddle in human affairs alongside accounts of real Viking expeditions, battles, and cultural practices. For instance, the sagas recount the voyages of legendary explorers like Leif Erikson, who is said to have reached North America centuries before Columbus. While these stories are steeped in myth, they are grounded in the historical reality of Viking exploration and their remarkable seafaring skills. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Norse sagas is how they reflect the values and worldview of the Viking Age. Odin, the god of wisdom and war, was not just a distant deity but a symbol of the Viking ideal: cunning, fearless, and willing to make great sacrifices for knowledge and power. Similarly, Thor, with his mighty hammer Mjolnir, embodied the strength and protection that Vikings sought in their harsh and unpredictable world. These gods were not merely worshipped, they were seen as active participants in the lives of their followers, influencing everything from battles to harvest. Archaeological discoveries have further blurred the line between myth and history. Artifacts like the Thor's hammer pendants found across Viking settlements show how deeply these gods were woven into everyday life. Rune stones and carvings often depict scenes from the sagas, suggesting that these stories were not just entertainment but a way for Vikings to make sense of their world and their place in it. Even the famous Viking longships with their dragon-headed prows seem to echo the mythological beasts that roamed the Norse cosmos. The sagas also provide a glimpse into the Viking spirit of adventure and resilience. Tales of raids, trade expeditions, and settlements in far-off lands like Iceland, Greenland, and even parts of North America reveal a people unafraid to venture into the unknown. These stories, while embellished with mythological elements, are rooted in the real experiences of Viking explorers and warriors. They remind us that the Vikings were not just raiders but also traders, settlers, and storytellers who left an indelible mark on history. As we leave the world of Norse gods and Viking sagas behind, we are reminded once again of the powerful interplay between myth and history. The gods and heroes of these tales may have been larger than life, but they were shaped by the very real struggles, triumphs, and aspirations of the Viking people. Their legacy endures not just in the myths we tell but in the history we uncover. And now our journey takes us to the sands of ancient Egypt, where the mysteries of the afterlife await. Now, as we step into the sun-baked sands of ancient Egypt, we find ourselves entering a world where the line between life and death was as thin as the papyrus on which their sacred texts were written. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations, offers a fascinating window into the mythological beliefs surrounding the afterlife, and how these beliefs shaped the very real practices of mummification and tomb construction. For the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end but a transition to a new existence. The Book of the Dead, known to them as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, was a guide to navigating the perilous journey through the afterlife. It was filled with instructions to help the deceased overcome obstacles, appease gods, and ultimately reach the field of reeds, a paradise where they could live eternally. But this journey was not just a matter of faith. It was deeply tied to the physical world, influencing how Egyptians prepared for death and honored their dead. One of the most striking examples of this connection is the practice of mummification. The Egyptians believed that preserving the body was essential for the soul's survival in the afterlife. The process of mummification, which could take up to 70 days, involved removing internal organs, treating the body with natron salt, and wrapping it in linen bandages. Each step was accompanied by rituals and spells from the Book of the Dead, ensuring the deceased would be protected and prepared for their journey. The organs, carefully preserved in canopic jars, were thought to be necessary for the soul's rebirth, while amulets placed within the wrappings provided magical protection. Tomb construction was another area where mythology and history overlapped. The pyramids, mastabas, and rock-cut tombs were not just grand monuments but gateways to the afterlife. The walls of these tombs were often inscribed with passages from the Book of the Dead, serving as a permanent guide for the deceased. The elaborate decorations and hieroglyphs depicted scenes of the afterlife, showing the deceased interacting with gods, sailing on solar barks, and enjoying the pleasures of the field of reeds. These tombs were also filled with grave goods, food, clothing, jewelry, and even furniture believed to be necessary for the deceased's comfort in the next world. The Book of the Dead also reveals the moral dimension of the Egyptian afterlife. the deceased had to undergo the weighing of the heart ceremony, where their heart was measured against the feather of Mat, the goddess of truth and justice. If the heart was found to be pure, the soul could proceed to the afterlife. If not, it would be devoured by the monstrous Ammit. This belief in a moral judgment after death influenced how Egyptians lived their lives, striving to uphold Mat's principles of truth, balance, and order. Archaeological discoveries have brought these beliefs to life. The tombs of pharaohs like Tutankhamun and Ramses II are filled with artifacts and inscriptions that mirror the spells and rituals described in the Book of the Dead. Even the tombs of ordinary Egyptians, though less lavish, reflect the same hopes and fears about the afterlife. These findings show that the Book of the Dead was not just a religious text but a cultural cornerstone, shaping how Egyptians understood death and immortality. As we leave the world of ancient Egypt, we are reminded once again of the profound ways mythology and history intertwine. The Book of the Dead was more than a collection of spells. It was a blueprint for eternity, guiding the living and the dead alike. Its influence can still be felt today, not just in the artifacts we uncover, but in the timeless human quest to understand what lies beyond this life. And now, our journey takes us to the legendary city of Rome, where the myth of its founding reveals another fascinating overlap between myth and history. Now, as we journey from the sands of ancient Egypt to the rolling hills of Italy, we find ourselves at the heart of one of history's most enduring legends, the founding of Rome. This tale, steeped in myth and mystery, revolves around the twin brothers Romulus and Remus, whose story has captivated imaginations for centuries. But beyond the legend lies a fascinating intersection of mythology and history, where the myth of Rome's founding may have been shaped by, and in turn shaped the rise of one of the ancient world's greatest civilizations. According to the myth, Romulus and Remus were the sons of Mars, the god of war, and Sylvia, a Vestal virgin. Abandoned as infants and left to die by the Tiber River, they were miraculously saved by a she-wolf who nursed them back to health. Raised by a shepherd, the twins grew up to be strong and ambitious. However, their bond was shattered when they disagreed over where to build their city. In a tragic turn of events, Romulus killed Remus and became the sole founder of Rome, naming the city after himself. While this story is rich in mythological drama, it also raises intriguing questions about its historical roots. Archaeological evidence suggests that the area of Rome was inhabited as early as the 8th century BCE, around the time traditionally associated with the city's founding. Excavations on the Palatine Hill, where Romulus was said to have established his settlement, have uncovered traces of early huts and fortifications that align with the timeline of the myth. These findings hint that the legend of Romulus and Remus may have been inspired by real events or figures in Rome's early history. But the myth of Rome's founding was more than just a story. It was a powerful tool for legitimizing Roman authority. By tracing their origins back to a divine lineage and a heroic founder, the Romans reinforced their sense of identity and destiny. The tale of Romulus and Remus emphasized themes of strength, leadership, and divine favor, qualities that the Romans saw as central to their success. Over time, the myth became a cornerstone of Roman culture, celebrated in art, literature, and public ceremonies. The myth also served a political purpose. As Rome expanded its empire, the story of Romulus and Remus helped unify its diverse population under a shared heritage. It provided a sense of continuity and legitimacy, linking the present to a glorious past. Even the rivalry between Romulus and Remus could be seen as a metaphor for the struggles and conflicts that shaped Rome's early history, from internal power struggles to external conquests. Interestingly, the myth's influence extended beyond Rome's borders. Later civilizations, including medieval and Renaissance Europe, adopted the story of Romulus and Remus as a symbol of noble origins and imperial ambition. The she-wolf, in particular, became an enduring emblem of Rome's strength and resilience. As we reflect on the myth of Romulus and Remus, we see how it bridges the gap between legend and reality. While the story may be steeped in mythology, its echoes can be found in the archaeological remains of early Rome and the cultural legacy of the Roman Empire. The founding of Rome reminds us that myths are not just tales of the past, they are living narratives that shape how we understand history and identity. And now, our journey takes us to the ancient Indian epic, the Mahabharata, where the lines between myth and history blur once again in the tale of the Kurukshetra War. Turning our gaze to the ancient lands of India, we encounter one of the most monumental epics in human history, the Mahabharata. This sprawling narrative, composed over centuries, weaves together mythology, philosophy, and history into a tapestry that has captivated generations. At its heart lies the Kurukshetra War, a colossal conflict between two branches of a royal family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas. But is this epic tale purely mythological, or does it hold echoes of real historical events? The Mahabharata is more than just a story, it's a cultural cornerstone, encompassing themes of duty, morality, and the complexities of human nature. The Kurukshetra War, described as an 18-day battle, is said to have involved vast armies, divine interventions, and legendary warriors like Arjuna and Bhishma. Yet, beneath the layers of myth, scholars have long debated whether this epic conflict reflects a historical reality. Archaeological evidence from ancient India provides intriguing clues. Excavations in regions associated with the Mahabharata, such as Hastinapur and Kurukshetra, have revealed remnants of settlements dating back to the 2nd millennium BC. These findings suggest that the epic may have been inspired by real events or conflicts that took place in the region. For instance, the discovery of fortified structures and weaponry aligns with the descriptions of warfare in the Mahabharata, hinting at a possible historical foundation for the epic's narrative. The Mahabharata also reflects the social and political landscape of ancient India. The epic's emphasis on dharma, or righteous duty, mirrors the values of early Indian society, where kingship and governance were deeply tied to moral principles. The intricate family dynamics and power struggles depicted in the story may echo the real-life challenges faced by ancient Indian rulers as they sought to maintain order and legitimacy. What makes the Mahabharata particularly fascinating is its ability to transcend time and culture. While the Kurukshetra War may have been rooted in historical events, its mythological retelling has given it a universal resonance. The epic's exploration of human emotions, ethical dilemmas, and the consequences of actions continues to resonate with audiences today, making it not just a historical artifact but a living tradition. As we delve into the Mahabharata, we see how mythology and history intertwine to create a narrative that is both timeless and deeply rooted in the human experience. The Kurukshetra War, whether historical or mythological, serves as a powerful reminder of the enduring impact of stories in shaping our understanding of the past and our place in the world. And now, our journey takes us to the heart of Mesoamerica, where the Aztec Sunstone reveals another fascinating overlap between myth and history. Now, let's journey to the heart of Mesoamerica, where the Aztec Sunstone stands as one of the most iconic artifacts of ancient civilization. This massive stone disk, often referred to as the Aztec calendar stone, is not just a stunning piece of art but a window into the Aztec worldview, blending mythology, astronomy, and history into a single, intricate design. The Aztec Sunstone is a masterpiece of symbolism, measuring over 3 meters in diameter and weighing more than 24 tons. At its center lies the face of Tanatea, the sun god, whose image is surrounded by concentric rings filled with intricate carvings. These rings represent the Aztec understanding of time, space, and the cosmos, reflecting their belief in the cyclical nature of existence. The stone is not merely a calendar but a cosmic map, illustrating the Aztec conception of the universe and their place within it. Mythologically, the Sunstone tells the story of the five suns or eras that the Aztecs believed had existed before their own. According to their cosmology, each sun was destroyed by a cataclysm, and the current era, the fifth sun, was destined to meet a similar fate. The stone's imagery emphasizes the Aztec belief in the fragility of their world and the need to maintain cosmic balance through rituals and offerings to the gods. This mythological narrative was deeply intertwined with their daily lives, shaping their religious practices and societal structure. Historically, the Sunstone played a central role in Aztec rituals and governance. It was used to track time through the Aztec calendar system, which consisted of two interlocking cycles, the Tonalpohualli, a 260-day ritual calendar, and the Xiuhpohualli, a 365-day solar calendar. These calendars guided everything from agricultural cycles to religious ceremonies, ensuring that the Aztecs remained in harmony with the natural and divine order. The Sunstone also served as a political symbol, reinforcing the authority of the Aztec rulers. By aligning themselves with the cosmic order depicted on the stone, Aztec leaders claimed divine legitimacy, presenting themselves as intermediaries between the gods and the people. This connection between mythology and power was a cornerstone of Aztec society, ensuring stability and cohesion in a vast and complex empire. What makes the Aztec Sunstone truly remarkable is its ability to bridge the gap between myth and history. While its carvings tell a mythological story, they also reflect the real-world practices and beliefs of the Aztec people. The stone's discovery in the late 18th century provided modern scholars with invaluable insights into Aztec culture, offering a tangible link to a civilization that once thrived in the heart of Mexico. As we examine the Aztec Sunstone, we see how mythology and history converge to create a narrative that is both deeply spiritual and profoundly practical. This ancient artifact reminds us that the stories we tell about the cosmos are often reflections of our own lives, shaped by the challenges and triumphs of the societies that create them. And now, our exploration takes us to the legendary city of El Dorado, where myth and history intertwine in the quest for gold and glory. Now, let's turn our attention to one of the most enduring legends of the Americas, the fabled city of El Dorado. This mythical city of gold has captured imaginations for centuries, but its origins are deeply rooted in the real-world practices of the Muisca civilization, an advanced society that thrived in what is now modern-day Colombia. The story of El Dorado begins with the Muisca people, who are known for their elaborate gold-working skills and rich cultural traditions. At the heart of their rituals was a ceremony that would later inspire the legend. During this ceremony, the Muisca leader, known as the Zipa, would cover himself in gold dust and dive into Lake Guatavita, offering treasures to the gods as a symbol of devotion and prosperity. This act of ritual sacrifice, combined with the Muisca's reputation for crafting exquisite gold artifacts, laid the foundation for the myth of a golden city hidden somewhere in the Americas. When Spanish conquistadors arrived in the 16th century, they were captivated by tales of this golden leader and the wealth of the Muisca. The name El Dorado, meaning the Golden One, was born from these stories, but over time the legend evolved. What began as a description of a single ritual transformed into the idea of an entire city made of gold, a place of unimaginable riches waiting to be discovered. The Spanish obsession with El Dorado drove countless expeditions into the uncharted territories of South America. These quests, fueled by greed and ambition, often ended in failure, but they played a significant role in shaping the history of the continent. The search for El Dorado led to the exploration of vast regions, the establishment of new settlements, and the tragic exploitation of indigenous peoples. The myth, in many ways, became a catalyst for the broader Spanish conquest of the Americas. What makes the story of El Dorado so fascinating is how it blurs the line between myth and history. While the city itself may never have existed, The legend was inspired by real cultural practices and historical events. The Muisca's gold rituals, their craftsmanship, and their interactions with the Spanish all contributed to the creation of a myth that continues to captivate us today. As we reflect on the legend of El Dorado, we see how stories can take on a life of their own, growing and changing as they are passed down through generations. The myth serves as a reminder of the power of storytelling and the ways in which history and imagination can intertwine to create something truly extraordinary. And now, our journey takes us to the ancient Epic of Gilgamesh, where myth and history collide in one of humanity's oldest tales. Now, let's journey back to one of the oldest stories ever told, the Epic of Gilgamesh. This ancient Mesopotamian tale, written on clay tablets over 4,000 years ago, is not just a work of mythology but also a window into the lives, beliefs, and values of the Sumerian people. The story follows Gilgamesh, the king of Uruk, a powerful but arrogant ruler who embarks on a quest for immortality after the death of his closest friend, Enkidu. Through his adventures, Gilgamesh encounters gods, monsters, and profound truths about life, death, and the human condition. While the epic is filled with fantastical elements, it also reflects the real-world concerns of the Sumerians, such as their relationship with the gods, their understanding of mortality, and their efforts to make sense of the natural world. One of the most striking aspects of the Epic of Gilgamesh is how it mirrors the historical and cultural context of ancient Mesopotamia. The city of Uruk, for example, was a real place, and archaeological evidence confirms its existence as one of the earliest urban centers in human history. The epic's descriptions of Uruk's towering walls and bustling streets align with what we know about the city's grandeur during the Sumerian period. The themes of the epic also reveal much about Sumerian society. The relationship between Gilgamesh and Enkidu, for instance, highlights the importance of friendship and loyalty, values that were central to Sumerian culture. Similarly, the epic's exploration of mortality reflects the Sumerians' deep-seated fear of death and their desire to find meaning in an unpredictable world. Another fascinating connection between the epic and history lies in its depiction of the Great Flood. The story of a catastrophic flood sent by the gods to destroy humanity bears striking similarities to other flood myths, such as the biblical story of Noah's Ark. Scholars believe these stories may have been inspired by real flooding events in Mesopotamia, where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers frequently overflowed, causing widespread devastation. The Epic of Gilgamesh also provides insight into the Sumerians' religious beliefs. The gods in the epic are powerful but capricious, reflecting the Sumerians' view of the divine as both awe-inspiring and unpredictable. This duality shaped their rituals and offerings as they sought to appease the gods and secure their favor. What makes the Epic of Gilgamesh so remarkable is its enduring relevance. Despite being thousands of years old, its themes of friendship, mortality, and the search for meaning continue to resonate with readers today. The epic reminds us that, even in ancient times, people grappled with the same fundamental questions that we do now. As we leave the world of Gilgamesh behind, our next stop takes us to the Minoan civilization, where the myth of bull leaping reveals another fascinating overlap between mythology and history. Now, let's turn our attention to the vibrant world of the Minoans, where mythology and history intertwine in the daring practice of bull leaping. This ancient ritual, depicted in stunning frescoes at the Palace of Knossos on the island of Crete, offers a fascinating glimpse into Minoan culture and its connection to the legendary Minotaur. Bull leaping was more than just a sport or spectacle. It was a deeply symbolic act that reflected the Minoans' reverence for the bull, an animal often associated with strength, fertility, and divine power. The frescoes at Knossos vividly capture the moment of the leap, showing athletes gracefully vaulting over the backs of charging bulls. These images suggest that bull leaping was not only a test of skill and bravery, but also a ritual that may have held religious significance, possibly performed to honor the gods or to mark important ceremonies. The connection between bull leaping and the myth of the Minotaur is particularly intriguing. According to legend, the Minotaur was a fearsome creature with the body of a man and the head of a bull, confined within the Labyrinth of Knossos. Some scholars believe that the myth of the Minotaur may have been inspired by the real-life practice of bull leaping. The labyrinth itself, often interpreted as a symbol of complexity and mystery, could have been a metaphorical representation of the intricate architecture of the Palace of Knossos with its sprawling corridors and courtyards. The bull's central role in both the myth and the ritual highlights its importance in Minoan society. For the Minoans, the bull was not just an animal but a powerful symbol of nature's forces and the divine. The act of leaping over the bull may have been seen as a way to harness or appease these forces, demonstrating human mastery over the natural world while acknowledging its sacred power. What makes bull leaping so compelling is how it bridges the gap between myth and reality. The frescoes at Knossos provide tangible evidence of this practice, while the myth of the Minotaur offers a fantastical interpretation of its cultural significance. Together, they reveal how the Minoans used storytelling and ritual to make sense of their world, blending the extraordinary with the everyday. As we leave the world of bull leaping behind, our next exploration takes us to the mystical realm of the Celtic Druids, where mythology and history converge in the practices and beliefs of these ancient spiritual leaders. Now, shifting our focus to the misty hills and sacred groves of ancient Europe, we step into the enigmatic world of the Celtic Druids. These revered figures, often depicted in mythology as wise sages and mystical intermediaries between the human and divine realms, played a central role in Celtic society. But who were the Druids and how much of their legendary portrayal aligns with historical reality? The Druids were more than just priests or spiritual leaders. They were the keepers of knowledge, advisors to kings, and custodians of Celtic law and tradition. In Celtic mythology, they are often portrayed as possessing supernatural abilities, such as shape-shifting, prophecy, and control over the natural world. These stories, passed down through oral traditions, paint the Druids as almost otherworldly figures, deeply connected to the forces of nature and the gods. Historically, the Druids were indeed central to Celtic culture, though much of what we know about them comes from Roman accounts, particularly those of Julius Caesar. According to these records, the Druids were highly respected and held significant influence over tribal decisions, from legal disputes to matters of war and peace. They were also responsible for conducting religious ceremonies, which often took place in sacred groves or near natural landmarks like rivers and springs. Archaeological evidence provides further insight into Druidic practices. Sites like the Lindoman, a preserved bog body discovered in England, suggest that ritual sacrifice may have been part of their religious customs. Additionally, artifacts such as ceremonial cauldrons, torques, and stone carvings hint at the spiritual and symbolic importance of these objects in Druidic rituals. The alignment of ancient stone circles like those at Stonehenge with celestial events also points to the Druids' advanced understanding of astronomy and their role in marking sacred times of the year. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Druids is how their mythological portrayal intertwines with their historical role. While the myths emphasize their mystical powers, the historical evidence highlights their practical contributions to Celtic society as scholars, judges, and spiritual guides. This duality reflects the Celtic worldview, where the boundaries between the natural and supernatural were fluid and interconnected. As we move from the sacred groves of the Druids, our journey continues to the majestic dragons of Chinese mythology, where myth and history converge in the symbolism of power and authority. Now, let's journey from the mystical groves of the Druids to the vibrant and awe-inspiring world of Chinese mythology, where the dragon reigns supreme. In Chinese culture, the dragon is not just a mythical creature. It is a symbol of power, wisdom, and divine authority, deeply intertwined with the history and identity of the nation. But what makes the Chinese dragon so unique, And how did this legendary figure become a cornerstone of imperial legitimacy? Unlike the fire-breathing, treasure-hoarding dragons of Western folklore, the Chinese dragon is a benevolent and auspicious being. Often depicted as a serpentine creature with the features of various animals such as the scales of a fish, the claws of an eagle, and the antlers of a deer, the dragon embodies harmony and balance. It is associated with water, rain, and the life-giving forces of nature, making it a symbol of prosperity and good fortune. The connection between dragons and Chinese emperors dates back thousands of years. Emperors were often referred to as the sons of heaven, and the dragon became their emblem, representing their divine right to rule. The imperial throne was known as the dragon throne, and the emperor's robes were adorned with dragon motifs, often featuring 5-clawed dragons, a design reserved exclusively for the emperor. This imagery reinforced the idea that the ruler was chosen by the heavens and possessed the dragon's strength and wisdom. Historically, the dragon's symbolism was not just limited to the emperor. It permeated all levels of Chinese society, from architecture to art. Temples, palaces, and even everyday objects like pottery and textiles were decorated with dragon designs, reflecting the creature's cultural significance. The dragon dance, performed during festivals like Chinese New Year, is another example of how this mythical being became a living part of Chinese tradition, symbolizing the community's hopes for prosperity and good luck. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Chinese dragon is how its mythological role aligns with historical events. For instance, the legend of the Yellow Emperor, a mythical ruler said to have ascended to heaven on the back of a dragon, mirrors the historical reverence for emperors as divine figures. Similarly, the dragon's association with water and agriculture reflects the importance of these elements in China's agrarian society, where the emperor's ability to ensure good harvests was seen as a sign of his heavenly mandate. The dragon's enduring legacy in Chinese culture is a testament to how mythology and history can intertwine to shape a nation's identity. By adopting the dragon as a symbol of imperial power, Chinese rulers not only legitimized their authority, but also connected themselves to a timeless narrative of strength, wisdom, and divine favor. As we leave the realm of the Chinese dragon, our exploration takes us next to the ancient Mayan civilization, where the Popol Vuh reveals a creation story that intertwines myth and history in profound ways. Now, let's turn our attention to the ancient Mayan civilization, where the Popol Vuh offers a fascinating glimpse into how mythology and history intertwine. The Popol Vuh, often referred to as the Mayan Bible, is one of the most important surviving texts from the pre-Columbian Americas. It is not just a creation story, but a rich tapestry of myths, histories, and cultural values that reveal the Mayan worldview. At its core, the Popol Vuh tells the story of how the gods created the world and humanity. According to the text, the gods attempted to create humans multiple times before succeeding. Their first attempts, using materials like mud and wood, failed because the beings lacked the ability to worship or honor their creators. Finally, the gods crafted humans from maize, a sacred crop that was central to Mayan life. This connection between humanity and maize reflects the deep agricultural roots of Mayan society, where farming was not just a means of survival but a spiritual practice tied to the cycles of nature. The Popol Vuh also introduces the hero twins Hunahpu and Xbalanque, who embark on a series of adventures in the underworld. These tales are more than just entertaining myths. They symbolize the struggle between life and death, light and darkness, and the triumph of order over chaos. The hero twins' journey mirrors the Mayan understanding of the cosmos, where the underworld, the earth, and the heavens were interconnected realms governed by divine forces. This mythological framework is echoed in Mayan architecture and cosmology. The towering pyramids and temples, such as those at Chichen Itza and Tikal, were designed to reflect the Mayan vision of the universe. The stepped pyramids, with their multiple levels, represented the layers of the cosmos, from the underworld to the heavens. The alignment of these structures with celestial events, like the equinoxes and solstices, further underscores the Mayans' belief in a harmonious relationship between the earthly and the divine. The Popol Vuh also highlights the importance of time in Mayan culture. The Mayans were master astronomers and mathematicians, developing a complex calendar system that tracked both solar and lunar cycles. This obsession with time was not just practical but deeply spiritual, as they believed that history repeated itself in cycles. The creation story in the Popol Vuh reflects this cyclical view of time, where the actions of the gods and the hero twins set a pattern that would repeat throughout history. By examining the Popol Vuh, we see how mythology and history are deeply intertwined in Mayan culture. The creation story, the adventures of the hero twins, and the cosmological principles embedded in their architecture all reveal a civilization that saw the divine in every aspect of life. The Popol Vuh is not just a myth, it is a window into the Mayan soul, offering insights into their beliefs, values, and understanding of the universe. As we move forward, our journey takes us to the realm of the Greek Titans, where myth and history collide in tales of power, rebellion, and the shaping of the ancient world. Now, shifting our focus to the ancient Greek world, we encounter the mighty Titans, a group of deities whose stories are steeped in both myth and potential historical significance. The Titans, often overshadowed by the later Olympian gods, were the predecessors of Zeus and his siblings, ruling the cosmos before their dramatic downfall. But who were the Titans, and could their tales hold echoes of real historical events? In Greek mythology, the Titans were the children of Gaia, the earth, and Uranus, the sky. They were 12 in number, including figures like Cronus, Re, Oceanus, and Hyperion. These powerful beings ruled during what the Greeks called the Golden Age, a time of peace and prosperity. However, their reign came to an end with the Titanomachy, a colossal war between the Titans and the Olympian gods led by Zeus. This epic battle, lasting 10 years, ended with the Titans' defeat and their imprisonment in Tartarus, a deep abyss beneath the underworld. But could the Titanomachy be more than just a myth? Some scholars suggest that the story of the Titans might reflect historical conflicts between pre-Greek civilizations and the incoming Greek-speaking peoples. The ancient Greeks were not the first to inhabit the region. Before them, the Aegean world was home to advanced cultures like the Minoans and the Mycenaeans, who left behind impressive architectural and artistic legacies. The clash between the Titans and the Olympians could symbolize the cultural and political upheaval that occurred as these older civilizations were absorbed or displaced by the Greeks. The Titans themselves might represent the older gods and traditions of these pre-Greek societies. For instance, Cronus, the leader of the Titans, was associated with agriculture and time, themes central to many ancient cultures. His overthrow by Zeus, who brought a new order to the cosmos, could mirror the transition from older, earth-centered religions to the sky-focused worship of the Olympian gods. This shift might reflect the changing priorities and values of the emerging Greek civilization. Archaeological evidence also hints at possible connections between the Titans and pre-Greek cultures. The Mycenaeans, for example, worshipped deities that bore similarities to the Titans, such as Poseidon, who was a major figure in their pantheon before becoming one of the Olympians. The ruins of Mycenaean palaces and fortresses, with their massive stone walls and intricate frescoes, suggest a society that valued power and hierarchy, much like the Titans in myth. The Titanomachy, then, might not just be a tale of divine rebellion but a symbolic representation of historical struggles for dominance in the ancient Mediterranean. The Titans' fall and the rise of the Olympians could reflect the real-life conquests and cultural shifts that shaped the Greek world. By examining these myths, we gain a deeper understanding of how the Greeks viewed their past and the forces that shaped their identity. As we continue our exploration, we'll delve into the Norse concept of Ragnarok, a myth that similarly intertwines cosmic battles with historical and cultural themes. Turning now to the icy realms of the Norse, we encounter Ragnarok, the apocalyptic vision of the Viking world's end. This dramatic myth, filled with cosmic battles and the fall of gods, offers a fascinating glimpse into the fears and values of the Viking people. But what exactly is Ragnarok, and how does it connect to the historical realities of the Viking Age? In Norse mythology, Ragnarok is the final battle between the gods and their enemies, a cataclysmic event that leads to the destruction of the world as it is known. The gods, including Odin, Thor, and Freya, face off against forces of chaos like the giant wolf Fenrir, the serpent Jormungandr, and the fire giant Surtur. The battle ends in mutual destruction, with the world consumed by fire and water. Yet, from the ashes, a new world emerges, fertile and renewed, where the surviving gods and humans begin again. But Ragnarok is more than just a tale of doom and rebirth. It reflects the harsh realities of life in the Viking Age, a time marked by constant warfare, harsh climates, and the ever-present threat of death. The Vikings lived in a world where survival was uncertain, and their myths often mirrored these struggles. Ragnarok, with its themes of inevitable destruction and eventual renewal, may have served as a way for the Vikings to process their fears of mortality and the unpredictable forces of nature. The myth also highlights the Viking values of bravery and honor. In the face of certain doom, the gods choose to fight rather than flee, embodying the Viking ideal of facing death with courage. This resonates with the historical Viking practice of valuing a warrior's death in battle above all else, as it guaranteed a place in Valhalla, Odin's Hall of the Slain. Ragnarok, then, can be seen as a reflection of the Viking ethos, where even in the face of the end, one's actions and choices matter. Interestingly, some scholars suggest that Ragnarok may have been influenced by real historical events. The volcanic eruption of Laki in Iceland in the year 1183, for example, caused widespread devastation and could have inspired the imagery of a world consumed by fire and ash. Similarly, the Viking encounters with Christianity, which brought its own apocalyptic visions, may have shaped the Norse understanding of the end times. Ragnarok, with its blend of myth and historical resonance, offers a powerful window into the Viking worldview. It reveals a people deeply aware of the fragility of life, yet determined to face their fate with dignity and resolve. As we move forward, we'll explore the Incan Sun God Inti, another myth that intertwines divine power with the realities of human history. Now, let's journey from the icy Norse realms to the sun-drenched peaks of the Andes, where the Inca civilization revered Inti, the sun god, as the ultimate source of life and power. Inti wasn't just a mythological figure, he was central to the Inca worldview, shaping their culture, politics, and daily life. But how did this divine figure intertwine with the historical realities of the Inca Empire? And what role did he play in legitimizing the authority of its rulers? In Inca mythology, Inti was considered the ancestor of the Inca people and the father of their first ruler, Manco Capac. This divine lineage wasn't just a story, it was a cornerstone of Inca governance. By claiming descent from Inti, the Sopa Inca, or emperor, positioned himself as a living god on earth, a bridge between the divine and the mortal realms. This connection to Inti wasn't merely symbolic, it was a powerful tool for maintaining control over a vast and diverse empire. The Sopa Inca's authority was seen as divinely ordained, and his rule was justified through his sacred relationship with the sun god. The worship of Inti was deeply embedded in Inca society. The most famous temple dedicated to him was the Coricancha in Cusco, the empire's capital. This temple, adorned with gold to reflect the sun's brilliance, was the spiritual heart of the Inca world. Rituals and offerings to Inti were not just acts of devotion but also political acts, reinforcing the Sopa Inca's divine right to rule. The annual Inti Raymi festival, a grand celebration of the winter solstice, was a public display of this connection, with the emperor leading ceremonies to honor Inti and ensure the sun's return. But the myth of Inti went beyond politics. It also reflected the Incas' deep understanding of their environment. Living in the Andes, where the sun's warmth was essential for agriculture, the Inca saw Inti as the giver of life. Their advanced agricultural practices, such as terraced farming and irrigation systems, were often framed as gifts from Inti, further intertwining myth with daily survival. The sun cycles dictated planting and harvesting seasons, and the Inca believed that their prosperity depended on maintaining harmony with Inti. Interestingly, the myth of Inti also served as a unifying force for the empire. As the Inca expanded their territory, they incorporated conquered peoples into their religious framework, often building temples to Inti in newly acquired lands. This wasn't just about spreading faith. It was a way of integrating diverse cultures under a shared belief system, with the Sopa Inca at its center. By aligning local deities with Inti, the Inca created a sense of unity across their vast empire. The legacy of Inti and the Incas' solar worship continues to resonate today, particularly in modern Andean cultures where elements of these traditions are still celebrated. The myth of Inti, with its blend of divine authority and practical wisdom, offers a fascinating example of how mythology and history can overlap to shape a civilization's identity and governance. As we move forward, we'll explore the Babylonian creation story, the Enuma Elish, and its role in shaping one of history's earliest empires. Now, let's shift our focus from the sunlit Andes to the ancient river valleys of Mesopotamia, where the Babylonian creation story, the Enuma Elish, offers another striking example of mythology and history intertwining. This epic tale, inscribed on clay tablets, not only explains the origins of the world, but also serves as a powerful tool for legitimizing Babylonian kingship and cosmology. The Enuma Elish begins with the primordial chaos of water, represented by the gods Apsu and Tiamat. From this chaos, the younger gods emerge, leading to a cosmic struggle for power. The hero of the story, Marduk, rises to defeat Tiamat, the embodiment of chaos, and creates the world from her body. This act of creation establishes Marduk as the supreme god of the Babylonian pantheon, a position that mirrors the rise of Babylon itself as a dominant power in Mesopotamia. But the Enuma Elish is more than just a creation myth. It's a political document. By elevating Marduk to the status of king of the gods, the Babylonians reinforced the authority of their own king, who was seen as Marduk's earthly representative. The king's role was not just to govern but to maintain cosmic order, ensuring that the world remained stable and prosperous. This divine connection gave the Babylonian monarchy a sacred legitimacy, much like the Incas' relationship with Inti. The myth also reflects the Babylonians' sophisticated understanding of their universe. The orderly creation of the world from chaos mirrors their efforts to bring stability to the often turbulent region of Mesopotamia. The Enuma Elish emphasizes the importance of kingship and law in maintaining this order, themes that resonated deeply in a society where centralized authority was crucial for survival. Rituals and festivals played a key role in reinforcing these ideas. The Akitu festival, held annually in Babylon, reenacted the Enuma Elish and celebrated Marduk's victory over chaos. During this festival, the king would undergo a symbolic humiliation before being reinstated, a ritual that underscored his dependence on divine favor and his role as a servant of the gods. This public display of piety and power helped to solidify the king's authority and the unity of the Babylonian state. The Enuma Elish also served as a unifying force for the diverse peoples of the Babylonian Empire. By promoting Marduk as the supreme deity, the Babylonians integrated local gods and traditions into a centralized religious framework. This strategy not only strengthened their political control, but also fostered a shared cultural identity among their subjects. The enduring legacy of the Enuma Elish lies in its ability to blend myth, history, and politics into a cohesive narrative. It shows how the Babylonians used mythology to explain their world, justify their power and create a sense of order in a chaotic universe. As we move forward, we'll explore the mythological story of Amaterasu, the Japanese sun goddess, and her role in shaping the divine authority of Japan's imperial family. Now, let's journey from the ancient rivers of Mesopotamia to the sacred islands of Japan, where the myth of Amaterasu, the sun goddess, shines as a cornerstone of Japanese mythology and history. This captivating tale not only explains the origins of the Japanese imperial family, but also reflects the deep connection between mythology, religion, and political power in ancient Japan. According to the myth, Amaterasu was born from the left eye of the creator god Izanagi, making her one of the most important deities in the Shinto pantheon. She was revered as the goddess of the sun and the universe, embodying light, life, and order. Her brother, Susanoo, the storm god, often clashed with her, leading to a dramatic event that would shape the myth's legacy. In a fit of rage, Susanoo wreaked havoc on Amaterasu's sacred rice fields and even killed one of her attendants. Devastated and angered, Amaterasu retreated into a cave, plunging the world into darkness and chaos. The other gods, desperate to restore light and order, devised a clever plan to lure Amaterasu out of the cave. They gathered outside and performed a lively dance, accompanied by laughter and music. Curious about the commotion, Amaterasu peeked out, and the gods used a mirror to reflect her radiant light, drawing her out and restoring balance to the world. This moment not only symbolizes the triumph of light over darkness, but also highlights the importance of harmony and unity in Japanese culture. The myth of Amaterasu was more than just a story. It was a powerful tool for legitimizing the authority of Japan's imperial family. The emperors of Japan were believed to be direct descendants of Amaterasu, a claim that granted them divine status and unshakable legitimacy. This divine lineage was central to the concept of the emperor's role as both a political and spiritual leader, ensuring stability and continuity in Japanese society. Shinto beliefs, deeply rooted in nature and ancestor worship, further reinforced the connection between Amaterasu and the imperial family. The emperor was seen as the chief priest of Shinto, responsible for maintaining harmony between the human and divine realms. Rituals and ceremonies such as the Daijusai, a grand harvest festival, were performed to honor Amaterasu and reaffirm the emperor's sacred role. These practices not only strengthened the emperor's authority, but also fostered a sense of unity and identity among the Japanese people. The myth of Amaterasu also reflects the values of resilience and renewal that are central to Japanese culture. Her retreat and return symbolize the cyclical nature of life, the seasons, and the enduring power of hope. This narrative resonated deeply with the Japanese people, offering a sense of continuity and purpose in a world often marked by change and uncertainty. As we move forward, we'll explore the mythological Valkyries of Norse culture and their connection to Viking warrior traditions, uncovering how these fierce figures shaped beliefs about honor, death, and the afterlife. Now, shifting our focus to the icy realms of the north, we encounter the Valkyries, the fierce and enigmatic figures of Norse mythology. These warrior maidens, often depicted as divine choosers of the slain, played a pivotal role in shaping Viking beliefs about death, honor, and the afterlife. According to Norse legends, the Valkyries served Odin, the All-Father, by selecting the bravest warriors who fell in battle and escorting them to Valhalla, the great hall of the slain. This myth not only glorified the warrior ethos but also provided a profound sense of purpose and destiny for those who lived and died by the sword. The Valkyries were more than just mythical beings. They were a reflection of the values that defined Viking society. In a world where warfare was a way of life, the idea of being chosen by a Valkyrie and welcomed into Valhalla was the ultimate honor. It meant that a warrior's courage and skill had earned them a place among the gods, where they would feast and prepare for the final battle of Ragnarok. This belief system reinforced the Viking ideal of dying a heroic death, as it promised eternal glory and a place in the divine order. Archaeological evidence supports the connection between these myths and Viking burial practices. Many Viking graves, particularly those of high-ranking warriors, contain weapons, armor, and even ships, suggesting a belief in an afterlife where such items would be needed. These burials often reflect the grandeur and reverence associated with the journey to Valhalla, as described in the myths. The presence of such elaborate grave goods indicates that the Vikings took the idea of an honorable death seriously, preparing their fallen for the afterlife in a manner befitting their status. The Valkyries also embody the Viking attitude toward fate and destiny. In Norse mythology, the concept of weird or fate was central to their worldview. The Valkyries, as agents of Odin, were seen as instruments of this fate, determining who would live, who would die, and who would be granted a place in Valhalla. This belief in predestination did not lead to passivity, however. Instead, it inspired Vikings to live boldly and face death with courage, knowing that their actions could earn them a place among the gods. The myth of the Valkyries also highlights the role of women in Viking culture. While often overshadowed by the male warriors, women in Norse society held significant power and influence both in myth and reality. The Valkyries, as powerful female figures, symbolize this duality, representing both the nurturing and the fierce aspects of femininity. They were not mere bystanders but active participants in the fate of warriors, further emphasizing the importance of balance and respect between genders in Viking society. As we delve deeper into the final overlap between mythology and history, we'll explore the epic Ramayana and its profound influence on ancient Indian culture, uncovering how this timeless tale reflects the values and beliefs of a civilization that continues to inspire millions today. Now, as we journey from the icy realms of the north to the vibrant landscapes of ancient India, we encounter the timeless epic of the Ramayana. This monumental tale, attributed to the sage Valmiki, is not just a story of gods and heroes but a profound reflection of the values, beliefs, and cultural practices that shaped ancient Indian civilization. At its heart, the Ramayana narrates the life of Prince Rama, his exile, his quest to rescue his wife Sita from the demon king Ravana, and his eventual return to rule the kingdom of Ayodhya. While it is steeped in mythology, the epic also offers a window into the historical and social fabric of ancient India. The Ramayana is more than a mythological narrative, it is a moral compass that has guided generations. Central to the story is the concept of dharma, or righteous duty, which Rama embodies as the ideal king, husband, and warrior. His unwavering commitment to truth, justice, and loyalty reflects the values that were deeply revered in ancient Indian society. The epic also highlights the importance of familial bonds, as seen in Rama's respect for his father's wishes and his brother Lakshmana's devotion to him. These themes resonate with the cultural emphasis on duty, honor, and respect for elders that were integral to Indian life. Archaeological and historical evidence suggests that the Ramayana may have roots in real events or kingdoms. For instance, the city of Ayodhya, believed to be Rama's birthplace, has been identified with a historical site in present-day Uttar Pradesh. Excavations in the region have revealed ancient settlements and artifacts that align with descriptions in the epic. While the exact historicity of Rama remains debated, the story's setting and cultural details provide valuable insights into the political and social structures of ancient India. The epic's depiction of kingdoms, alliances, and warfare mirrors the realities of early Indian states, offering a glimpse into how these societies functioned. The Ramayana also reflects the spiritual and philosophical underpinnings of ancient Indian culture. The character of Sita, for example, symbolizes purity, resilience, and devotion, embodying the ideal of womanhood as envisioned in that era. Her abduction by Ravana and subsequent trials serve as a metaphor for the struggle between good and evil, a recurring theme in Indian mythology. Similarly, Hanuman, the devoted monkey god, represents unwavering loyalty and strength, qualities that were celebrated in both myth and reality. These characters and their journeys continue to inspire millions, illustrating the enduring relevance of the epic's teachings. Beyond its mythological and historical dimensions, the Ramayana has had a profound impact on Indian art, literature, and traditions. From classical dance forms like Bharatanatyam to temple architecture and festivals such as Diwali, the epic has left an indelible mark on Indian culture. Its retellings in regional languages and adaptations in various art forms demonstrate its universal appeal and adaptability. The Ramayana is not just a story, it is a living tradition that continues to shape the identity and values of people across the Indian subcontinent. As we conclude our exploration of the 25 fascinating overlaps between mythology and history, the Ramayana stands as a testament to the enduring power of stories to reflect, preserve, and inspire. Its blend of myth and historical resonance reminds us that the past is not just a collection of events but a tapestry of beliefs, values, and aspirations that continue to influence the present. As we wrap up this journey through 25 incredible moments where mythology and history intertwine, it's clear that these stories are far more than just tales of gods and heroes. They are reflections of real events, cultures, and human experiences that have shaped civilizations across the globe. From the legendary Trojan War to the epic Ramayana, each myth carries echoes of historical truths, offering us a unique lens through which to understand the past. These overlaps remind us that myths are not just flights of fancy but powerful narratives rooted in the realities of their time, preserving the values, struggles, and aspirations of ancient societies. So, which of these overlaps resonated with you the most? Was it the discovery of Troy, the mysteries of the Oracle of Delphi, or perhaps the enduring legacy of the Ramayana? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you enjoyed unraveling these historical mysteries with us, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you never miss out on our next deep dive into the fascinating world where history and mythology collide. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep uncovering the stories that connect us to our past.